an absolute stake in the way that our country lives up to its promise as a free democracy. We're here tonight to understand what we can, as a community, do to strengthen our democracy and its precious institutions. How do we get into this mess, and how do we get out of it?
We've never lived in a time where we are so morally aroused that either we are finding ourselves in comfortable echo chambers where we only hear people like ourselves, or we are so outraged that we don't even see the humanity of the other. And anytime you go from outrage to demand, fire that person, take their award away, tear down a statue with his name on it, give me an apology, you might get somebody fired, you might get a statue torn down, but you will make no progress. Because the third most important step between having the right moral response, outrage, and a demand is the conversation.
I decided actually to go home, literally home, to the roots of my optimism, the little town in Minnesota where I grew up, called St. Louis Park. If Sweden and Israel had a baby, it would be St. Louis Park. And there's a civic ethic that you really learn. And it's this thing I talk about in the book called Minnesota Nice. You know, his wife Eileen had been driving on the ring road around Minneapolis that day, and a driver almost drove her off the road. And she came home and said, "Jay, I was so mad I almost honked."
The challenge of the new age is going to be how do we organize around love and hope and caring and human elevation and not the more banal qualities of humanity. And it's going to take leadership. And I think that's why you're doing is so important, because community is what makes us most human.
We live in the most connected age in history, and the Surgeon General of the United States is telling me that depression-related isolation is the biggest disease in America today. And that tells me that connecting hearts to hearts is a huge challenge.
We know the difference between a little white lie, a lie of convenience, a lie of whatever, but bold-faced lies delivered and believed by people is something that I just can't wrap my head around. So I'm just wondering what sort of advice both of you have.
These same tools that are allowing people to make money spreading lies are the same tools that we can use to fight lies.
You know, the internet is an open sewer of untreated, unfiltered information. And if we don't build the internal filters into our kids and citizens, who are now going to be interacting, really living their lives through that thing, to filter out the gold and the rubies and the diamonds from the broken glass and jagged cans, we're going to have a real problem. And that is not something you can download. You've got to upload that the old-fashioned way.
You've just made the argument for this building.